Hey, what's up, guys? I want to talk about failures in the God debate today, or the God discussion. And I want to just mention that there's failures on all sides of this one. There's actually failures in being a theist or a religious person. There's actually also failures in being an atheist. There's actually also failures in being agnostic. And everything has its failure points. So I want to start going over those things so we can advance the debate. Or the discussion, just a little bit. It's actually better if it's a discussion as opposed to a debate. Because it's just really, it's just gross for people to even debate things because people don't even know anything anyway. So it's very arrogant, especially for most people to even debate issues. If you haven't read for 10 years on an issue, why are you even in a debate? But so the problem, I really think we need to establish a fundamental framework for the discussion, which is something like I guess I'll call it a binary logic. And that's probably not the correct term, but here's what I mean by that is, here's the framework I think that should be established. Either something created the universe, or nothing did. So from that point, we'll fundamentally bifurcate into two sides there, and you proceed down that path. Most people are going to say, well, it doesn't make sense for nothing to have created the universe. Most people are going to say something did it. So then it's just a matter of what is that something. Physics is going to look for some sort of physical force that did it, but that's going to take you so far, but then at a certain point that there's going to be a dead end there. Religion will say God did or something, but the thing is, we just need to look at it how can we figure out what created the universe? What is a valid way to get to knowledge about that? And we should look at the fact that basically, if you just want to believe something, you need to understand that that is not knowledge. I think that's one of the big problems today is a lot of people say, well, I have faith or I believe, so therefore I'm good. No, that just means you believe something. That you don't have knowledge when you have faith. Those are fundamentally different things, and I think we need to preserve that distinction. There are theologians and stuff who will argue that faith turns into knowledge or something. Don't do that. Just fundamentally we gotta understand that. So, but on the atheist side of things, it's kind of like Terence McKenna says. Basically, there are some failure points there too, because like Terence McKenna said, basically science's current position is give us one free miracle and we'll explain the rest. Because they're trying to say, okay, the entire universe and everything came out of nothingness in one glorious instant. And then, well, we'll try to explain the rest from there. And yeah, that's reasonable in the sense that there's no way to know how the universe started yet, but it's kind of unreasonable in, yeah, we're gonna have to redo this one. So yeah, and then those are problems with atheism, that it's really hard to, because usually atheism gets paired with the scientific worldview. And science is really strong, but just not for talking about what originated the Big Bang yet. That's kind of beyond the scope of science at this point. So I feel like people are they're kind of overreaching when they're saying like, well, I'm going to use a scientific point of view to talk about what caused the universe to come into existence. Like, well, we can't, science isn't there yet, so you really can't do that. That's still a speculative area. So that's like a speculative philosophical investment. You're investing your mind into that area of thinking. Highly speculative area, but I am kind of swayed by the argument that, saying this universe, which is governed by like tons of laws, saying that this universe all came out of randomness is like saying you threw a grenade into a pile of scrap metal and the explosion assembled a fully functioning airplane or helicopter. Like that really, that's analogous. Like that's a really good analogy, because that's true. That's the problems I have with the atheist side. Is just there's really no way to argue that a universe that has laws in it came out of just randomness. Like, how does randomness create laws? And the thing is, if randomness created laws, they would be momentary. Like, it could momentarily create laws, but then they would blip out of existence again and you go back to chaos. If everything was chaos, we would have no science. We'd have no knowledge. What's funny is, you're actually arguing for, like, Heraclitus' view. Like, the ancient philosopher said, all is fire. Meaning just everything's in constant flux and change. Like, you can't. And one way to interpret that would be to say, like, you can't ever understand anything because it's always changing. It's like A is never equal to A, because 1 second later, A is a derivative of A. It's like a changed thing. A is now B. A is now C. A is now X. A is now a letter of a different alphabet. A is now a number. A is now non-existent. Like, that's how randomness is. The reason we have science is because you can repeat experiments and get the same result 1,000 times. Okay? That means we're living in an orderly universe. As much as, humans can change things and mess things up, the underlying nature of the universe has laws that aren't changing. So, that indicates a design, not randomness. And I'm not arguing for any particular deity here. I'm just saying laws indicate some sort of design. That doesn't mean there's a plan for every human life or some shit, but there's just a design to it. It's like if you make an article of clothing, you design it a certain way. There's just a design. That's what I'm saying. So, and human laws always indicate some sort of design or purpose or intention. And there is something like that underlying our universe. Of course, we don't know anything about what it was that created that. It could be AI that created that. It could be aliens that made this universe. It could be maybe the whole universe did come out of nothingness in some way that can't be understood by our science or even future science, or that might be understood by science 10,000 years from now or something. But so then, just briefly, I also want to go over the problem I have with the agnostic position, even though that's really the best in class position in terms of accuracy of what we actually know. That's the best position. But the danger there is just laziness. If you're just agnostic, you can just say, oh, well, we don't know, so who cares? No reason to investigate further, no reason to question anything anymore, no reason to look at anything anymore, we just don't know. That, I don't like that intellectual laziness either, because, well, you should try to develop your mind. You should try to understand more. You should be exploring, experimenting, looking into things that you don't know enough about yet. And there may be things you can actually know. Probably not the whole answer, but it's like, shoot for the stars, and maybe you'll end up at the moon, you know? Like, try to figure out the whole puzzle, and you'll probably figure out certain pieces, and that advances yourself, and if you share it with others, you know, human knowledge in general, at least for whoever you share it with, you know? So, overall, that's what I'm saying, but really the thing that is holding the debate back mainly is faith. But you need to understand that there's faith in science too. Scientism is a real thing, which means believing in science religiously. That holds science back. Like, you should not be someone who practices scientism either. So, I mean, honestly, there's failures on all sides, which is normal. Alright, thanks for watching.